Please, Isaac, don't go. Hello, I am the Irish guy, and okay then. Yeah, today I'm gonna grade every Premier League club's most recent transfer decision. Right, let's go. Arsenal Victor Gyökeres C. So it's official then. The saga is over. And Victor Gyökeres is back in England. And isn't it funny how he never actually faced any consequences for acting like a big baby brat in Portugal? Honestly, there's a way to leave a football club. But this guy was so desperate for this Arsenal move. So desperate to stand in the middle of that, so desperate to stand in the center of that Emirates turf, so desperate to stand in the middle of that Emirates stadium, swigging from a bottle of KSI spit, that he literally chose to stop turning up for work. Imagine having a ridiculous 54-goal season, and then choosing to burn your Lisbon legacy status, and then choosing to burn your Lisbon legend status in a can of 7-Up. He was so determined to do this. He even dumped his girlfriend to squeeze through this move. He even dumped his Portuguese girlfriend to squeeze through this move. Which seems like the opposite of the last time he moved to England. Because when he joined Brighton in 2018, he actually managed to get his childhood sweetheart into the Brighton women's team too. Yeah, they broke up and she now plays for Spurs. The North London enemy? If they got back together now, it really would be like Romeo and Juliet. Instead he should probably worry that his bitter ex is gonna sneak into his house to burn his shoes. Look, how he went about getting this Arsenal move was absolute garbage behaviour. But is he the guy? I don't know, okay? Because his numbers in Portugal were immense. But UEFA ranks the Portuguese league even lower than the Dutch one. And we've seen just how many pony frauds have been burped out of the Eredivisie. Look, for 64 million, he is worth the risk. But do I think he's gonna be some beastly goal-scoring freak? Scoring 1 and 1? No. I mean, his Bane celebration looks cool. And I'm surprised AFTV haven't done an entire Dark Knight Rises music video as a tribute. With Ty dressed up as Catwoman. But I see him being the modern day Podolski. 15 goals a season. An upgrade on Gabriel Jesus, sure. But I genuinely think the club should have paid big for Ivan Toney at 27 instead. Aston Villa, Dominic Calvert-Lewin D-. Aston Villa fans must be bored. Sure, they managed to keep hold of most of their stars. But they've been about as active in his transfer window as a dead Santa Claus. They've done nothing. What's Monkey been doing? Is he just spending the whole summer having a caravan holiday in Guam with his mum? Villa have done zilch, but apparently they've entered the race for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Apparently in a fight with Champions League Newcastle and AC Milan. I'm sorry. AC Milan! Is this like when the media tried to tell us they wanted Hendrick as... Is this like when the media tried to tell us that Milan wanted Jeff Hendrick as well? Is this like back when the media tried to pretend that AC Milan wanted Jeff Hendrick too? How are we living in a world where Christian Eriksen is getting embarrassing contract offers from Wrexham? Which honestly would be like a former big-name pop star now getting asked out by Thogden. Whilst a broken dishwasher like Calvert-Lewin has his pick of Eddie Howe, Unai Emery, and Max Allegri. Just nonsense. And yeah, if this happens, then this would stink. Of when Champions League chasing Aston Villa assigned a 3-goal a season Emil Heskey on a free. All the way back in 2008. All the way back in 2009. Whose legacy at Villa did nothing other than make KSI famous. Whose legacy at the club did nothing other than make KSI rich. Sorry, but this one is a D-. It's a transfer target, but it's exciting as if your mum told you were having baked beans for dinner. Bournemouth Ilyas Barney D. Apparently this one is a done deal. Bournemouth have now cashed in on their other centre-back star, Ilyas Barney, agreeing a £50 million deal with PSG. Yeah, in what other universe did you ever think that little old Bournemouth would be selling their centre-back partnership to Real Madrid and PSG in the same summer window? Seeing those two European powerhouses buying from little old seaside Bournemouth, it'll be a bit like seeing the awful Paul brothers getting their latest clothes, knitted by your nan. But yeah, if Bournemouth could pocket £50 million for Zabarni, it is good business, but it is completely risky to completely rip your whole defence apart. If I'm a Bournemouth fan, then this is a bit worrying. Brentford, Yohan Wissa B. Brentford are in an absolutely hideous, horrendous position. Come on, to lose your star manager, your goalkeeper, your captain, and your best player in one window is bad enough. But now your current best player is demanding to leave after a 19-goal season. Who can blame Yohan Wissa? He's currently been told to take instructions from a managerial baby. Keith Andrews has more experience of being a pundit than a manager. Lads, I've spent more time eating yogurt off the pavement than Andrews has managing an actual match. And yeah, Wissa is being offered Champions League football at Newcastle. The Magpies have had a £25 million bid rejected, which is fair enough, but Wissa has now told the Bees chairman that he's not going to play for them again if they don't let him leave. He's prepared to just munch on cookies on the couch for the next year? This is ugly behaviour. I'm sorry, but Wissa is demonstrating the maturity levels of Tommy Pickles. Brentford are in an awful spot, but if I'm a B, then you should wait for Newcastle to pocket some Isa cash and then try and squeeze as much money as you can out of them for this Dr. Congo International. So rejecting the bids, it's actually sensible. Brighton, Pervis, Esteban, C+. Okay, firstly, I have to say that it absolutely makes my soul sing to see Evan Ferguson score 4. Yes, 4 on his Roma debut. That was more beautiful than a fat rainbow, but no! The last thing the Brighton have done in this window is sell their 27-year-old Ecuadorian international left-back Pervis Esteban to AC Milan for £17 million. Not a bad move for a guy who's never allowed to make his debut in his 4 years at Watford. Yeah, I'm guessing most of you didn't even know he was at Vicarage Road, but yeah. All of their crazy coaches clearly decided he was no better than duck cheese and put him out on 5 different loans. Look, he's a good defender, sure. But he's just become the 11th biggest sale in Brighton's history. It's good money for an aging left-back, so yeah, good deal. Burnley, James Trafford F. Burnley must be absolutely fuming. Out of every club in the world, the one they did not want coming in for their star goalie James Trafford was Man City. Because they're powerless to keep him and have to sell him on the cheap. Come on, Burnley were wanting close to £40 million off of Newcastle for their England international. But instead, City have exercised their buyback clause. It's technically a £31 million deal. So technically that would make Trafford the most expensive British goalkeeper to ever live. But because of City's sell-on clause, they managed to squeak it down to just 27 mil. It's a World Cup year and Trafford is choosing to sit on the bench. Considering Ederson's move to Galatasaray has crumbled into cookie crumbs. I mean, didn't Trafford leave the Etihad to actually play matches? Why is he taking a backward step to just be the FA Cup goalie? I don't get it. And as for Burnley, it's a complete nightmare. They need a goalie fast. Chelsea, João Felix B. So it's official. João Felix was a big fuss over nothing. Isn't it absolutely crazy that this Portuguese waste of time is still the 4th biggest transfer of all time? after leaving Benfica for Atletico Madrid in a horrid £112 million deal in 2019. Utterly insane how that Portuguese club managed to shake down Atletico for that much money. I can only assume the Atleti transfer negotiation team was made up of monkeys. Was made up of monkeys that had escaped the zoo. And once this deal is completed, a £43.7 million switch to Al Nassr, then, when you combine all of his transfer fees, then Felix would be the third most expensive footballer of all time, only behind Neymar and, weirdly, Lukaku. But his career has been completely expensive snot. It's been a mess since 2023. Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, Barcelona, Chelsea again, AC Milan, and now Al Nassr. At 25, he should have never been bought by Chelsea. Never, never, never. Especially not after that pudding average loan spell under Potter. Seriously, it would have been a bit like Chelsea paying £40 million to bring back Alexander Pato after his forgettable gerbil loan spell at Stamford Bridge. When he was a forgettable gerbil unknown at Stamford Bridge, where honestly, people didn't even know he was at Chelsea. Honestly, when he was stopped in the street of London, people probably thought he was Spider-Man. People probably thought they were talking to Spider-Man. People probably thought they were talking to that guy who got. People were probably thinking he was that sacked Spider-Man. So yeah, to get most of your money back on this absolute soggy toffee pot. On this absolutely soggy toffee pop. Well done, Chelsea. Crystal Palace, Evan Gessansi. Nothing much is going on at Crystal Palace. But apparently they're closing in on a deal for Nice forward Evan Gessant. A 24-year-old Ivory Coast international winger off the back of a 12-goal season in Ligue 1. Sure, it's decent squad depth, I'll give it a C. Everton, Malik Fofana, A+. Everton are on the verge of a madness. Lads, what Nottingham Forest giving for Lyon's absolute wonderkid winger Malik Fofana? You could smell his disappointment from here. This 20-year-old Belgian international is absolutely seen as European gold. And he had elite clubs in Europe fishing for his signature. So when he heard that the club in the Conference League wanted him, he probably silently vomited in his mouth. But yeah, now Everton are in advanced negotiations with Lyon for this kid. Bear in mind, Liverpool have been wanting to sign this guy. So if the Toffees can come in and nick him, it'll be absolutely incredible. But surely not. Because surely Fofana wants to get a Champions League club in August. But if this actually comes off, then Everton, wow. Fulham, Benjamin Lecomte, C.